right, so yet another 3D toy.
Yeah, it comes in handy. So this is actually a piston ring grinder setup to use a Dremel tool. The nice thing about Dremels is there's like huge list of attachments for them in the 3D world. It's like whole drill presses, table saws, everything.
Yes, there's a ton of stuff out there, and this is kind of cool.
Yeah, this is a little rinky-dink piston ring grinder. It's probably got more in brass screws than it does in plastic. And
like 12 brass screws to hold everything down. But, I mean, it is kind of a neat deal. It saves you a little bit of time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say time.
Well, yeah, because you're going to have you're going to have to grind rings, most pedestrian engines you're going to deal with, you're not going to be grinding rings. You're going to, in fact, be just running a standard.
Depending on what rings you get, if you're going to need to grind them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're doing, but I'm saying if you're buying like the Hastings rings that we got in.
Yeah, they're already kind of gapped too big.
They're gappy a little bit, so we're not worried about it though.
I mean, these ones, the ones that were on it, they gapped at 28 thousandths, which is it's like a turbo supercharged ring gap. So there's a problem with them already, but we're going to do the best we can.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, we're gonna try to get him to around what, 16 thousandths?
Yeah, that's the goal. But the one I measured already is bigger than that. It's gapping at 20 thousandths.
That's better than that one.
Yeah. All right, so this is just a quick little dirty piston ring grinder. You makes the Dremel basically into a little table saw. You take your ring, put it up against the screws, squeeze it down while that's spinning, cuts a little bit off the inside, and you just grinds the piston rings. Simple. Beats the $50, $100 tools that you can get on it. Amazon, Summit, all those. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the compression rings in the bores. I've got an old piston here. You saw me take the ring off the top one. The easy way to get a piston ring squaring tool is, rather than buying one, is just take the compression ring off of a piston, leave the second ring on it, and you can use that to push the piston ring down flat into the bore. So I'm going to go ahead and line up 1, 3, 5, and 7 in the bore, and then I'm going to measure the piston ring end gap. All right, now that all those are in, push down, spin the piston just to make sure it's square all the way around. All right, what you're going to want to do next is get a set of feeler gauges. The spec for this is about 4 thousandths per every inch of bore. So a standard 302 would be 16 thousandths on the top compression ring. I'm going to hope that. I'm going to go ahead and straight measure to a 16th thou and see if any of these need to be ground immediately. I highly doubt they will. That one's super loose, super loose, super loose, super loose. So I'm going to go ahead and measure all of these to get what gap they are. So if the second rings need to be a little bit bigger than that, I know what I need to grind them to. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to 20 thousandths. Nope, 21, because 20 is missing. Still a little bit loose. I'd say that one's 20. Little loose, little loose. All right, so that's 24. That's 24. That's 24 as well. Number 7, I'm going to go ahead and mark on my paper. 24. Number 1, 24. Try and find 23. 23. All right, that is 23. Yeah, that's 22. All right, now that we know this, I can go in and file all these. I'm happy with that. That's 0.02 difference. You can file them till they're all 24. I would probably check the other side first to see what the biggest gap is over there. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to make all of these fit or to match, I would have to grind every ring except cylinder 4 out to 27 thousandths. Kind of don't want to do that, but I think I will. Nothing but time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the tightest one, which is 6 and 5. I'm going to work my way from there. So pull the ring out, take it over the grinder, and see if I can not mess this up. All right, so we are here at the little rinky-dink piston ring grinder. I've got an old compression ring. Use these as just a testing bed. Put them in there, measure what the dimension is. As it sits, grind a little bit, just see how it affects it. And so that you can get used to the repetition of how you need to actually squeeze this down. Because when this is running, you want to pull the ring against these stops so it stays square as it can be. And then you want to touch both sides simultaneously if possible. So got this on medium speed. I'm going to set this down. And that is about all you're going to want to be doing between each step. Just grind a little bit. You can take metal off, but you cannot put it back on these. Once you go too far, you have gone too far and your day is ruined and your disappointment is immeasurable. But once you get these ground down, you're going to want to take a diamond file, some kind of superfine file, and you're going to want to deburr all of your edges so that you do not get any scoring on the cylinder walls or in the piston ring lands. This is a large part of wear on the startup of an engine. If you do not deburr these, you will get horrible scoring on your cylinder walls. Take the time here, deburr everything, round the edges of the rings themselves, just where they're going to butt up and meet, possibly. Don't actually go out into the scraper areas and sand all that down. You'll ruin the rings. But just where you ground down just now, deburr all of that and round all the corners. All right, and once you feel comfortable with it, compress it back into the bore, seat it with a piston, measure your end gap, and hopefully you're right on spec. So now that I've shown you how to do that, I'm going to do one with a real one. Right, clean this side up pretty good. There's still a little bit of concave on this one, so I doubt that took much off, but I'm going to go ahead and deburr the corners and set it back in there and see what it's reading now. Right, it was reading 22 thou. So let's go to 23. Yep, so that removed about 1,000. I doubt 24 will fit. Nope. 24 won't go to the cylinder wall. So that removed about 1,000ths of material. So got a good bit of ways to go, but just take it slow. This is a time where time spent here is way better than time spent elsewhere. All right, 24 now goes all the way to the cylinder wall. Let's see, about 25. 25 does as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull 27 out because that is my target for everything. .26 will not go to the cylinder wall, so I need about 1.5 thou left. And I'm gonna sneak up on this, probably grind it 2 more times just to be sure. Forgot the step. And 27 goes all the way to the cylinder wall now. So that one is matched. Now I get to match all the other ones. So, yay, fun. I'm gonna be here for a few hours. All right, so I've got all of the top rings ground down to 27 thousandths just so that they're all matching. It's a little big, I know, but I'd rather they all be matched than be off. Will it affect anything? No, but that's the way I like to do it, so that's what we did. So I've got the second compression rings all set into their bores now. These should be ground a little bit bigger than the top rings so that you can't build pressure in between the rings. And that would cause the top ring to de-seat while under compression. So you want to be able to escape out past the second ring faster than it can build in theory. So I'm going to ground the second rings to about 29 thousandths. So same as last time.
I present you with your cam bearings.
My bearings.
You got your bearings now.
Yep, thank you. All right, so we are going to put the cam bearings in it. Today we're waiting on some piston ring expanders and some other stuff just to finish up the short block assembly, but we're gonna go ahead and put these in. I'm going to take some brake clean and some shop towels. Gonna be very careful with shop towels to not leave any lint. I wanna clean up these bores just to make sure there's no grit, oil, grease, anything that escaped the final cleaning. So if you see that, that is all dirt and grit and grime. I'm going to try and go through and get every one of these bores clean. And then probably blow this out with a blowgun before going any further. You want to take this rag and scrub it around there until it comes out decently clean. You're never going to get it exactly clean because this is cast iron. It holds a whole bunch of contaminants, but you want it as clean as you can get it. for me. All right, so we got our cam bearings here. These are directional, so when you get them in the box, don't pull them out and put them in a different order because you'll have a bad day. The first one on a small block Ford is one with 2 slots. Goes in this hole here. These slots must line up with these oil passages. If you look vertically down onto them, you can see the ones that are drilled into the cam bore. If you have struggles with that, take yourself a flashlight, put it into the cam bore, and you'll see exactly which ones are drilled to it. So we're going to start with the back, work to the front. All right, so this oil slot right here is what goes to the cam bore. So this slot right here needs to line up with it. Going to slide installation tool down the bore. All right, just going to ease this through. All right, now once you have it in there, you're going to want to drop your bearing down onto it. All right, so I've got the bearing snaked down in there. Going to push my tool through it. It is mostly lined up with that hole. I'm going to try and rotate the bearing a little bit. You've got some wiggle room with that slot there, so you don't have to be like precisely in the middle of that slot. It has to line up with the center of that hole. You've got some wiggle room, but better to be right on the money. All right, so when you're driving this in, you should have to drive the bearing to where it's just about flush. You want it recessed a little bit into the bore, but also if you take your flashlight and shine down that light, you'll be able to see that slot move into place. And then once you pull the installation tool out, you'll be able to shine light through that hole. I'm gonna grab my hammer, double, triple check, tighten that up a little bit. And I've got the cone on this, so it's driving the bar straight. And these love to pinch your fingers, so be careful with that. Right, that is about 1/3 of the way into that, so one more hit. One more hit. There we go. Center it up, pull that back. Perfect. Dead center. So you just go down the line, take your time, make sure everything's lined up. Then this last one, the front one, is a little bit special. It's got 2 holes, so you got to line up both of them. If you don't line this up, your engine will not live. All right. That hole. There's a hole there and a hole there. They're both the same size. And this one is a little bit difficult because you do not have the cone to center it, so you've got to steady it and drive it into straight. All right, you want to take your flashlight, check that one. It's lined up, but it needs a little bit more in. That's dead center of that oil hole. I would like it one more touch in though. All right, lined up perfect. The other thing I will do is I will take a paper clip and I'm going to put it down that hole and just make sure that I'm lined up with that oil passage.
All right, shift supervisor's coming in.
Make sure I did it right.
Make sure I'm watching it the whole time. Yep, we're good there. You can check the frame. I'm using a straw from like a WD-40 can or whatever to do this, just to check these, because you don't want to use anything metal if you don't have to, just because you got bearings in there now. And the straw is just as effective. Although most of the time it'll catch on an edge. I don't know why, but it seems to want to do that. All right, we got cam bearings in. We got a few things we're waiting on to come in because welcome to the modern world we live in.
2-day shipping is no longer 2-day shipping.
Speaking of things that are the last that you're not going to see of, and that's Patreon. We're not going to stop talking about this. This is literally how I pay the crew. The money for them comes out of this. Darren and Andrew, when they come in and edit, that's how I pay them, is the money that comes in for Patreon. So do me a favor, if you want to support the show, that is probably the best way you can go in and do a support for us right now, is to just join Patreon anywhere from a $1 level all the way up to $1.5 million. Cam and I've decided that with $1.5 million,
we're good.
We're good. We can probably work from there.
Yeah.
Because then we'll hire, the kids will be sitting around drinking Mai Tais and doing illegal stuff.
Non-alcoholic Mai Tais.
Yeah, the non-alcoholic Mai Tais.
Don't need to get further demonetized.
we got $1.5 million. What do we do? Live for tomorrow. Oh wait, no, today. So anyway, do that and just support us on there. If we've done anything to help you out with your car at all, it's a great way to show your thanks. Speaking of thanks, we're talking about super thanks. You know where we're going with this. Anything you want to put in there, apparently above $10 a session, because you can't do 25.
Yeah.
You might be able to do $2, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Darren was telling me the other day that they won't let you do 25 cents because of all some kind of fees and stuff.
Or it hurts somebody's feelings.
I don't care, you didn't hurt my feelings. But yeah, so super thanks is a way to show us on a one-time basis, hey, this video really helped me out. I do appreciate what you did for me. Here's some money for that. If you want to be able to do that every once in a while, that'd be great. We would take the money. It still goes right out to the kids. We don't see a dime of it as far as me and my household. It feeds the kids and it feeds Darren. Won't you help Darren? Darren is sad because he wants to make more money. I guess that's it, folks. Do me a favor, be kind to each other, love on each other, treat each other nice. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next time on Autorestomod. We've done that a lot.
Yeah.
That last thing.
I don't even know how many times.
I don't even want to think about how many times I've done it. Before you got around, I don't think we weren't doing that. Yeah, we pretty much started that fairly early on. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, all right. Fair enough. So, we're done for this for the day until we get some parts in.
Yep.
So
next up is short block.
I cannot wait. I really want to put this thing on the run. I think running in is a really good idea.
Yeah, either a run stand or an engine dyno cell is the best in my opinion. But around here you can't. Yeah.
There's really not. I mean, there's a place that's kind of open every once in a while when I think about it, which just kind of worries me a little. So for us, I think we're going to build ourselves a little run-in stand
Yeah.
and just kind of use it around here for all the stuff we build.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out how to make it so that we can do.
The engine doesn't go whoop.
I would make good video.
One time.
One time. It would make good video. All right, man, let's go get a beer.
Yes.